Audience panels, similar to a focus group, but they're not one-off, and you'll recruit members of a particular audience that you'd like to get more information from or co-produce something with. So you'd like them to help you develop something. If you want to recruit an access panel, for example, people with particular disabilities or access issues, then working with a partner organisation might be really good. Youth panels, young mums panels, for example. You might work with the local toddler groups or Sure Start to recruit through them, just to make the job a little bit easier. The other thing about recruiting, both to focus groups and audience panels, is it's not something that is widely understood in the populace as to what these things are. So you've got to make it very clear what you're offering and what you're expecting and what you're giving back. So give something back. A tea and cake goes a long way. But you might, give a £10 M&S voucher, £20 Amazon voucher. It doesn't actually have to be a lot. Graffiti wall. Again, you've got to be structured in what you're asking people to do, but you may, these are both from American museums. And you see on the one on the right-hand side, they've actually given people words, like those fridge words. That people can, obviously you've got to monitor that. You know what you do with those fridge words on a magnetic wall. But yeah, these are both in art galleries. But yes, they can be a great way to get a creative response back. Again, use with caution, because if you want specific information back, they might not be the best thing to use. GPS tracking, satellite tracking your visitors. So this is using a little device called iGatu. This is the one that I used, but actually there's more on the market now, and there will be loads more on the market in the next year or so. But basically it's a little pod, it's about this big, as you can see from my fingers there, that you can put on someone's arm or on their bag. It's only good for tracking outdoors, because indoors the reliability isn't good enough. So the map you can see here is of Martinmere. It tracks down to 20-second intervals. And the reliability is really, really good because it double checks its reliability. There's a whole algorithm I could go through with, but it's terribly boring, so I won't. But it's really, really good, and gives you an idea of how visitors are actually using their time and where they're going. We use this to help the Wildfowl and Wetland Trust understand how much time different types of visitors, their different segments of visitors were spending in their kept collections, so they're like flamingos, etc., and their reserve areas, because that helps them to develop the interpretive offer. So the one thing, families very rarely go into the reserve, so what they need to do is create a very obvious, exciting interpretive offer for families within the reserve area if they want families to be using that reserve area. And there's no other way, on a huge site like that, there's no other way that you could really get that data apart from following someone. And following someone, well, yeah, there's a whole ethics. I'd normally ask their permission, but they will naturally just change their behaviour because they're being watched. Has anybody done any visitor tracking or observation? Yeah, Lisa? Anybody else? Yeah? So for a small exhibition, like the Lime and Ice exhibition that I talked about earlier, we could do a visitor observation there because you can see the whole gallery from one particular point, which is fine. But for something like that, then really you probably have to pick off, I'll just look at half of the gallery and then I'll look at the other half for the same amount of time, or yeah, just pick off small segments, or just say, well, actually I can only look at the first half, whatever it is. What we normally do is track, you make up your own system, but track one set of visitors, and then whoever comes through the door next, that is the person you have to track, not choosing, they look like they might dawdle, I won't pick them. Or you are just looking at one case. How long do people stand and look at this one case or this one object or whatever? And that is quite exciting because you can work out time pooling and you can work out a plan of the gallery and how people are pooling their time at different parts of the gallery. Thinking about evidence and evidence as to what is working and what isn't in a gallery. If you've got to persuade a curator that something's not working or something is, that's quite good and quite visual. I would say that even an hour to anybody in the sector, this is probably the best use of an hour you can do, is just go and sit in the gallery and see what people do. You've got to look inconspicuous. I would absolutely always put a note on the desk to say, admissions to say, someone is observing today because we really want to improve our visitor experience and we want to see, you know, how people are using the gallery.